Well, welcome back, guys. We are back with a Spurs live video match reaction to Tottenham Hotspur versus Luton Town. We've got a full team today. We've got Josh, we've got Matt, myself. We're all back in the building. How are we all doing? How are we all doing?
Good. Happy to be back. Happy to have the full team in, like you say. It's been a little while, so it's nice.
Yeah, very good. Very nice. And very happy with Tottenham at the moment.
100%. I mean, lads, we're going to get straight into it. I mean, let's first of all talk about kind of the. I want to talk about the attack first. I know we're going to jump in straight to a lineup, but I just really want to focus on that attack first because when you guys saw Richie on that left-hand side, I think it was kind of obvious, but it was in my opinion the fact that I didn't think he was going to contribute much to the game. Let's just say like that. I didn't think he was going to contribute much to the game, and I didn't think there was much other option. Josh, what were your thoughts on the lineup in general when it came out?
I mean, I was happy with the lineup when it first came out. I mean, it's pretty standard lineup for this season, and considering the injuries we've got up top, I think I don't think Ange had much of a choice. But like you said, it was very apparent very quickly that again this wasn't going to be Richarlison's day, which is I think Richarlison's probably the most frustrating footballer at Spurs right now. Because last week he was brilliant against Liverpool. Even though he didn't score, he was brilliant. But this week, 5-6 minutes in, he should have had 2 goals. Easily should have had 2 goals. And that would have put the game to bed before it had even really started. And, you know, I spoke to you before this and I said that once we'd missed, though, we should have been 3-4 up in 10 minutes. And once we weren't and we missed all those big chances, I knew we were going to make hard work of it that day. And I think Richarlison, despite those missed chances, I think his general play was really poor. I think technical ability-wise, he just wasn't on the same level as everyone else, and he deservedly got dragged at half-time. I think he could have played 900 minutes and still not scored or created anything, to be honest. I think it was probably his worst performance of the season for me, up there with Bournemouth, those two. And like I said, it's really frustrating, but we are going to have to start questioning, you know, whether Richarlison deserves to even have a chance in this team anymore if he can't gain this clinical edge, because he's wasting a lot of chances.
I thought
agree.
his Bournemouth performance was a lot worse than his performance yesterday. But I mean, it speaks volumes when you look at the post-match ratings, and every single one of our players is 7+ apart from Richarlison. Every single one of our players is 7.2, 7.6, 8 something, and he just got Richarlison on like 6.4 or whatever they rated him. I mean, exactly as Josh said. I mean, I got very, very after the first 10 minutes, I got very, very nervous.
Yeah,
because I've seen this Tottenham game before, and we dominated them. We had 80% possession. I remember looking at the stats in the 15th minute because I was like, I wonder what the possession stats are, because we were all over them. And I think we had, at that point, it was 83% possession.
Right?
Yeah. I think it was 97 after like the first 10. Yeah. It was 97. How mental that is.
Mental, yeah.
And literally, exactly as Josh said, missing those chances, I immediately was just like, oh God, I've seen this Tottenham game before. Having missed those chances, we are going to rue them. And I guarantee you it will stay 0-0 and we'll concede a goal in the 85th minute and we'll lose 1-0. I was like, that's exactly what's going to happen. Luckily, we seem to have a different mentality and we seem to be grinding out results that we previously wouldn't have done, which is great. But no, I'd like to see Hill given a chance on the left.
Well, back on the bench for the first time, wasn't he?
Yeah, back on the bench.
Radiant feature.
So I'd like to see him given a chance. I'm hoping that Johnson will be back after the international break. And if we get Hill and Johnson fit, then we've got another 2 options up there.
Which, I mean, I'd like to also see Jamie Donnelly start to integrate into the first team match day squads off the bench a little bit more.
Yeah, Donnelly, Dorrington, Phillips. I think they're all worth a try at some point.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I mean, we'll have to kind of wait and see. But no, like I said, as a Spurs fan, you see how that game plays out, and for once, the games aren't playing out in the same way that they used to. Like, we do have a different team, we have a different mentality.
I think, sorry, very quick on that specific note that you said just there, the mentality. I think when you talk about Tottenham in previous years, Josh, I'm coming to you with this question. You talk about Tottenham in many years. You can see that the mentality is overtaking them so many times. They can't face the mentality situation. Do you think? I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'm gonna stay humble. Do you think this mentality, this winning mentality in terms of staying 1-0 up and continuing the game nicely, is a top four position finish
No,
potentially?
100%. Like it's not it's belief. I think the word is belief rather than mentality. It's belief in the manager, belief in the system, belief in each other. I think that's all things that have been missing for a long time. Like, you know, you see even after on social media after the game, all the players are talking about their mentality and how strong they are as a team and how they're a family and how they love it. How much you can see how much the players love each other in this team and how much they're willing to work for each other and put their bodies on the line for each other. And that's something we just haven't seen at Tottenham in so long. And like you said, when we went 1-0 down in this game, not sorry, when we nearly went 1-0 down, I was still confident. And even when we went down to 10 men, which we'll get onto later, after we went 1-0 up with 10 men, I was more confident that we were going to keep that clean sheet, even though we rode our luck a little bit at times. And Luton probably should have put away one of those chances. I was more confident that we were going to keep this 1-0 down at 10 men than I ever was at sort of 2-0, 3-0 up under Conte. I was way more confident in this game that we were going to hold on because the
Yeah.
quality of the team is better. And like you said, the mentality and belief in this team that they can overcome any challenge that comes their way, which they've done so far this season, is immense. And it's a mentality that you've seen early Klopp Liverpool have. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal in the past couple of seasons have had that mentality, and it's nice to see that sort of come into the culture at Spurs and get rid of that Spursiness.
But
yeah,
no,
I agree. Yeah.
But Josh, it's not just that, right? You talked about obviously Ange's team versus Conte, what have you. I think the main difference for me, right, was okay, we were down to 10 men. Yes, we had to defend for parts of the game because we had the numerical disadvantage. However, we were still trying to get the ball forward. We were still trying to push out. We were still trying to make chances. Whereas under Conte, we would 100% have just sat back and tried to defend the lead.
Well, I think Ange's game management is far superior to Conte's. I think Ange showed a different side of himself tactically yesterday to be able to control that game after going down to 10 and going 1-0. Like, as soon as we got the goal, you could see the shape changed. And although he went to a 5-back, it was a 5-back where Emerson was inverting still and Porro and Kulusevski had their spaces on the right. And Sarr, we'll get on Sarr later because he was immense in the spaces that he had in that second half. But Ange showed a tactical side of him that I don't think a lot of us have seen or knew if he had to his game, which was a more defensive side to manage out games like that. I was very impressed.
Look, I quickly want to now touch on a little bit of I know we're talking about positives about Tottenham, but I want to talk a little bit about negatives, unfortunately. I feel like there was quite a fair amount of negatives in this game to talk about. Very surprisingly, because recent 8 games we've not had barely anything to talk about negative about Ange Ball, but I feel like this game was a little bit too much negativity in my opinion. Let's talk about Romero for a second. Matt, Romero. I'm quickly giving my thoughts. I think he's very, very, very slow to put out the ball. Now, I like the player a lot. Defensively, he's fantastic. But at times, I feel like he needs to maneuver the ball much faster in order to allow the game to go faster. When he slows the ball down, it sometimes kind of annoys me. But I want to get your thoughts. What do you think of Romero? I mean, he had a fantastic game versus Luton. but at times I feel like he could have maneuvered the ball much quicker and had a lot of times where he got caught out.
I respectfully disagree.
I'd have
Okay, go
actually
for it.
attributed that to Basuma. I think that's the reason he got sent off yesterday, is because of that
Yeah,
exact reason.
but Basuma's a whole complete different conversation, because I feel like Basuma, him by himself, literally cost us a man. He literally cost us a man with diving for no reason. With
Yeah.
Romero, there was several times where he passed the ball way too slow, hit the attacker, and could have gone on a breakout. There was one attack where the ball came over, Mickey Van der Ven missed the ball, and Romero came to defend it, but then left his man, and it just didn't make sense to me. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, what were your thoughts then on Romero? You kind of disagree with me.
No, I disagree, because I think that in the way Postecoglou has decided to set up the team and what he wants, I actually think that Romero slowing it down is quite important for us to sometimes slow it down, dictate the pace of the game, okay, keep the ball in ours. And yeah, he rolls it into midfield slowly. He rolls it out wide slowly. But that's part of it, because he makes that slow pass, and then it's Basuma or whoever picks up the ball. They're the one who has that change of pace and pings it quickly. So no, I don't think Romero. I thought Romero had a good game. I thought defensively he played well. And yeah, in all
Fair enough.
honesty, I don't see his slow play as much of an issue.
I feel like it comes more to an issue when we're needing a goal. I feel like that's more what I'm targeting. I'm targeting, for example, the Liverpool game when we're desperate for a goal, and he's kind of like slowing the game down, but knowing that because the opposition are on such a defensive mode, they're not going to come out to press. But Josh, what were your thoughts on Romero?
I thought he had a great game. I
Okay.
thought defensively he was excellent. Like him and Mickey Van der
Yeah.
Ven, who we'll talk about because he was easily my man of the match yesterday, Mickey Van der Ven. But Romero, in Postecoglou's system, both the centre backs have to win so many individual duels. Like obviously they defend as a unit, but individually they have to be near perfection every game for the system to work,
And they
because
have.
they're on their own, and they have been. Romero was brilliant defensively. I know we obviously concede the goal and it's Romero that gets shoved and whatnot. And I honestly didn't see the shove at first, and I thought, oh, he's just been bullied by Adebayo. But no, I thought Romero was excellent. Their disallowed goal should have been disallowed. It was a clear shove on Romero.
But even if it
Um,
wasn't a shove, he was offside. So
yeah.
Yeah.
even if they hadn't done that, he'd have been offside anyway. So
But I think Romero, funny enough, and I think opposition fans just haven't caught on to it yet, he brings such a calmness to that defence as well. And even Ange said it in his press conference. He just brings a maturity to the defence where it's a very, very new defence. You know, Porro's our second longest serving defender in that lineup, and he's only been here 8-9 months. Like it's a very young,
Mental. Yeah.
very naive team, and Romero brings so much experience and calmness to that. And I think him being vice captain has really just brought him up another level, and it's stopped these stupid mistakes and rash errors. So to be honest, I'm fine with him, slowing things down on the ball, because he's just been excellent defensively, and I don't worry about him getting a silly sending off or making a stupid tackle to giving away bad fouls anymore, because he just doesn't do it. Like he's got that rep now, and if your opposition fans want to, plaster him with that, that's fine. But Romero's gone up a level, and he's a completely different man and player to what he was in the last season.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Matt. Oh, yeah.
no, like I completely agree. Like I'm so happy with our defense at the moment. So happy.
I think what you got to remember as well, specifically, very quickly, is that defense, like Josh said, is extremely new. And when we're talking about new defense, partnerships, and when I say partnerships, I mean all four of them. It's sometimes extremely difficult to get to already know what your defenders are going to do. I feel like Udogie and Van der Ven, them two, both their partnerships on the left hand side of that defense is fantastic. But Matt, I want to come to you with this with the question of the day, which is Bissouma. Tell me something. Number one,
Idiot.
very, 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 very quick one. It's a yes or no. Was that a dive from Basuma?
100%.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Like-
Okay, good. Just to clear that one out, because
Like-
I've had people saying that it was not a dive. But Matt, what do you think of Bissouma's game in general? What do you think? Trust me, Josh. By the way, I have had people saying it was not a dive. That's why I had to clarify
What
with you
game
guys.
were they watching?
I had to clarify
look,
with you guys if that was a
but-
dive.
The fact is, right,
Yeah.
none of us here are Liverpool fans, right? And
Yeah.
because we're not Liverpool fans, we're all going to openly be able to look at it and give a genuine assessment of what happened. And the reality is, Bissouma's red card was 100% justified.
He deserved that. I'm glad he got it.
Like, the reality is, well, I'm not glad he got it.
Well, no, I'm not glad he got a red card, but I'm
staying
glad he
on.
got sent off for that because he deserved to get sent off for that.
Look, the reality is, first one, he hauled a player down. If you do that, it's a standard yellow, right? He then made a progressive run. It was a decent run with the ball, and he's then simulated to try and get us a free kick on the edge of the box because obviously he ran out of options and didn't know where he was going to go. And unfortunately, in this day and age, that is a yellow. Now, I have seen a number of people saying, "Oh, yeah, but you never get a second yellow for simulation." And saying, "Oh, referees are normally, you never get a second yellow for simulation." Okay, you can argue that some referees maybe are like that, but the reality is, in isolation,
You get a yellow.
In isolation, the offence is a yellow card. So you can't argue with it at all. I thought Bissouma was. I thought he was good in the beginning of the game. I thought he was decent.
Yeah.
But his red card was 100% justified, and he should have been sent off. It massively changed the complexion of the game. However, I do want to say that I thought Højbjerg's 45 minutes was a very positive 45 minutes. I thought Højbjerg did very well when he came on. And I think Højbjerg will be starting alongside Maddison and Sarr probably for the Fulham game.
Has to.
But before I go to Josh, Matt, very quickly, but we all got to remember that Højbjerg will not have any progressive runs. Let's be honest. He's not that guy who runs with the ball forward like Bissouma does. He's usually the person who puts the passes in. He doesn't do the runs.
Yes, but then he's also the player, and especially if we're playing an attacking team, he is the player that makes the runs into the box. He's done it numerous times. So, okay, he's not going to carry the ball as well as Bissouma does, but I do think that he can still do a job. And I'm going to be honest, if he does well against Fulham, I'd be very inclined to play him again against Palace.
Okay.
And the reason being is because Bissouma's stupid red card, that supersedes his yellow cards, which means he now has a one-match ban.
And
but then if he comes back to the Palace game, he's still on 4 cards. So if he picks up a card in the Palace game, he's then suspended again for the Chelsea game.
The Chelsea game, yeah.
So I'm thinking that it may be worthwhile if Højbjerg does well against Fulham to play him again against Palace, so that Zuma can play against Chelsea. And all right, if he picks up a card, and gets a suspension. But at least we have him for the Chelsea game, and then he's suspended for the game after, which is
Fulham, Chelsea, and then
Wolves. I think
Wolves.
No, I think it is Wolves.
But at the end of the day, Bissouma had an okay game. I don't want to say had a good game. Had an okay game. Josh, do you think Bissouma? What were your thoughts on Bissouma? Honest opinion. Thoughts on Bissouma?
I'm really disappointed in Bissouma, and it's not just for that red. That red, obviously, because this whole season we've lauded praise over him constantly, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
But Andrew's come out and said that he asked Bissouma to take this leadership role in the team, and now that he's a more senior figure, he's obviously 27, and he needed to basically sort his work rate out, and he stopped being late to training, and he started to become a real role model within the team. And you can tell he's got a big influence in the team because of his personality. And that's why I was so disappointed that he got sent off in such a key moment of the game. We were in complete control of that game, and it should have been. I know we were struggling to get the ball in the back of net, but still an easy second half where eventually the goal would come, and then we'd absolutely just step on the throttle and finish them. But instead, he completely changed the complexion of the game, like Matt said, and turned it into what had to be a very defensive display from Spurs in the second half, of our backs to the wall, counter-attacking. And because of what he did, he ended up absolutely running Kulu into the ground because Kulu had to play up top on his own, basically.
Yeah.
But what I was more annoyed about with Bissouma is the first yellow, because that first yellow is the reason that after this suspension, probably going to get another one. And it's because Bissouma is so good at avoiding players. He can dribble past anyone, and he gets himself into so much space because of his dribbling ability and his progressive carrying ability that he dawdles on the ball for ages. He just does not pass the ball quick enough. And because he doesn't pass the ball quick enough, he'll get past one or two, get into space, and when he should release it, he doesn't. He just moves and he moves and he moves with the ball, gets pickpocketed, and then has to pull his man down on the counter. And he's had the same yellow three or four times this season, which is why he's going to be on a suspension. And it's stupid. It's a stupid foul that he puts himself into every single time. And it's the one criticism that I have.
I'm fairly certain it's Porro who got pickpocketed for that.
No, no, Porro did a bad pass to him, but Biss had time on the ball, got pickpocketed, and then had to pull him down.
Wait a second. Sorry, guys. Was that the foul that led to us conceding the goal? I can't remember.
No.
We didn't.
It wasn't, right?
We didn't concede a goal.
No. I'm saying
the set piece that they put in.
Yeah, the set piece that led for us, sort of to concede a goal. Whatever. Matt, do you think? Sorry. So to conclude, we think that Bissouma, stupid first foul, stupid yellow card. But but the red cards justify. It is what it is. We have to be realistic. But Matt, I want to talk to you a little bit about the goal scorer, Mickey van de Ven. He's come to this team, this squad, new team, new teammates, new partnership with Romero, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't want I preferred Tapsoba at the beginning. I honestly did. I think you guys know that I preferred Tapsoba, but Van de Ven is honestly he's been put in this team, and it's just been absolutely magnificent. Scored his first goal, and Sonny even predicted it beforehand. Matt, what were your thoughts on Van de Ven's performance in general, including the maybe more progressive side of the game?
Van de Ven is absolutely Rolls Royce.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Romero have absolutely cemented that centre back pairing. And if we get an injury to either of them, I honestly think that if we get an injury to either of them, we could potentially go on a run of losses. That's how important I think they are to our team. Because Romero is aggressive. His ball-willing ability, his game-reading ability is fantastic. Van de Ven, his recovery pace is unbelievable. Everything.
Does anyone else just laugh when someone tries to knock the ball past him? They just try and knock it and outpace him with 10 yards. It's just there's no point.
I think it was Mpanzu who did it at one point yesterday.
Yeah.
And he knocked it down sort of the right side of the box. And he knocked the ball and went. And I'm not going to lie, if that had been Eric Dyer, he'd have been in on goal.
Eric Dyer would have just backpedaled all the way back to Vicario and let them have the shot.
Hey, if that had been Eric Dyer, he'd have been past him and had a shot on goal. But instead, he knocked the ball, and then Van de Ven was like, "Oh, I've got to run a bit now."
It's just so funny to watch. I just love it when these tiny little wingers try and blitz him, and they just get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah,
they don't know what they're up against. Honestly, they don't know what they're up against.
Literally,
he should not be that quick at 6'4". He shouldn't be.
Yeah, he shouldn't be. It's illegal, mate.
I thought his goal was really good, and I think I don't think there's enough emphasis on how well the goal was taken, because you got to bear in mind, right? There were some players near him, okay, And as the ball's coming onto him, it would have been very easy to lash at that with his right foot.
Yeah.
Very easy to lash at that with his right foot. If he'd done that, I think that's hitting a defender and probably deflecting out.
100%.
But he didn't. He let it run across his body and then just very calmly side footed it with his left. Fantastic finish. Yeah, like I'm really, really happy he's got on the score sheet. I'm really glad that Sonny is now some sort of psychic, which is great. I'll tell you another thing I'm really happy with. We're 8 games into the season and we have 8 different goal scorers. 10 if we include own goals, but if we're only talking about our team, we have 8 different goal scorers, right? Which is massive. Massive, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously, especially with Kane leaving, there was talk about Tottenham being a mid-table side. We'd struggle for goals, so on and so forth. But the reality is, we have 8 different goal scorers after 8 games. Okay, fantastic. They're coming.
That's
from
exactly what we talked about. We talked about it before when Kane left. We talked about it. We said, the goals have to be spread around the team. That's what we said.
And that's exactly what they've done. Obviously, Sonny stepped up in September, got 6 goals. He's got to be favourite for Player of the Month. I'd have thought.
Yeah, but Ange does need to give this boy a break though. He's clearly injured. He's so clearly injured. You could see it yesterday that he was struggling a bit.
Well, I'm really hoping, given that Korea are playing 2 friendlies, but then I'm going to be honest. I think Tottenham should put their foot down. Tottenham should be saying, "Sorry, we're not you're only playing friendlies. He is injured. He needs the rest."
But Sonny won't do it though, will he? Because he's also captain of South Korean national team.
I know he's captain and he loves his country and.
But from a Tottenham point of view, guys, Josh, who would you start if Sonny doesn't start? I know that there are plenty of players. I'm just asking who would you start, because you got the youngster, what's his name,
Alejo
Veliz. You got Rich, who can play up front. You got who else? Decky can essentially play up front.
I'm going to be honest. Based on what I saw in 5
minutes, I think he had. But it was a good 5 minutes.
From what I saw of him yesterday in 5 minutes, I'm thinking I'd play Veliz up top over Richarlison. His aerial ability, and I know
he's massive.
So his aerial ability, it was talked about before he came to the club, because people are like, oh, he's good in the air, and it was apparently a factor of his game. But the number of headers he won.
He must have won about 4 or 5 aerial duels in about 5 minutes.
Literally, he was only on the pitch for a bit, but we'd put the ball up and he'd literally win the header, knock it down, and it just buys us a bit more time. I thought Veliz was very good, and I want to see him getting increased minutes going forward.
He could have had a goal as well if he'd have held his run just a tiny bit longer. I know he got called offside and he sort of snatched and slipped, but there was a point where he got played in. I think it was by Sarr or Kulu. And he just snatched it a little bit.
I think it was Kulu, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a really bright cameo from him. And I think I'd start him and then maybe Richie off the left or Hill off the left. Probably Richie, just because we can't have that much youth, I think, started straight away, and that people with that little minutes in this campaign so far.
Yeah.
I don't think you can play both at the same time.
But no, I think fantastic. I thought
overall good game. Overall good game from good game. Good 10 minutes cameo or 5 minutes cameo from Alejo Veliz.
5 minutes, but he did what he needed to. He held it up well as well in the corners, and he relieved a lot of pressure off of Kulu.
Yeah. I thought Veliz did really well when he came on. It was only 5 minutes, but I thought he was very good. And I'd be very excited to see him when we've got 11 players on the pitch.
I think the question you need to ask yourself is, who offers more? I'm going to be completely honest now. Who offers more up front, Alejo Veliz or Richarlison? And from what I've seen in 5 minutes, I think Veliz can offer more up front by holding up the play, something Richie can't really do. And then if Veliz can potentially pass it back to Madison and he creates something for Richie or for the wingers, it can provide us with goals. I think also that what Josh and Matt you both mentioned is the fact that his aerial duels big part to his game and something that Richie is not
I think
great
Richarlison just
at. Let's
gets
just
in
say that. And
better
can you
positions
can
off the left.
exactly also Richie's also better off at the left in my opinion. And also, can you imagine the corners that we'd get with Alejo Veliz? Can you believe it? I mean, the crosses that will come in with him just knocking it into the net. That we could essentially see potentially a Harry Kane finish with headers from Alejo Veliz in the future. Maybe I'm just saying. But look, lads, very last question for both of you. Coming up to this to this end of run games. Quickly we posted it on the Instagram. A question where it was out of the games that we had this month, very quickly, it was Sheffield, Arsenal, Liverpool, Luton. Now we got 3 points from Luton, 3 points from Liverpool, 3 points from Sheffield, and 1 point from Arsenal. What were your thoughts? I mean, did you guys predict that, or is it a bit of a surprise?
I think I predicted that as our best case scenario. Was what was it, 10 points? So yeah,
It was,
I think I
yeah,
predicted 10 as our best case scenario, like which is what I would have been ideal because I don't think we were going to beat Arsenal away, or I think it would be tough to get a point there. But I think this is the best that we could have done with what we had. I think this is the
agree.
absolute best we could have done, and I'm really proud and happy with the team for this run.
I
We had a
thought,
lot of tests, and we
I
passed them all.
thought, mate, I thought a good scenario would be 2 draws and 2 wins.
Yeah.
I thought a decent scenario, 2 draws, 2 wins, still unbeaten. I thought that'd be all right. But instead,
Yeah.
we got 3 wins and a draw. We've exceeded expectation. Really happy with that run of games. And now we've got 4 games
Winnable.
that are winnable.
Yeah.
We've got Fulham, Palace, and Wolves. All 3 of those should be
Side
winnable.
note, I'm going to that game, by the way, lads. Side note.
Are we
sorry,
home
lads.
or what's home and away for a lot of these?
It's home. It's home.
Yeah, because I was going to say we've had that's another thing that I want to mention. We've had so many away games and we've done so well away from home this season.
So we've had 5 away games and 3 home games.
Yeah,
and
I'm looking forward to that match. Honestly, I think it's gonna be good.
If you look at our fixtures, right, our next 4 games are 2 home, 2 away.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end of that run of fixtures, we're going to be 7 away and 5 at home.
Yeah.
So we're still going to be in a deficit where we're playing more away than home.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I think we've played on some tiny pitches against low blocks like Bournemouth and Luton, and it's so difficult. Like that pitch yesterday at Luton looked absolutely minuscule compared to the pitch at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Tottenham? Yeah.
And it's just not. I imagine it's just not easy to play against a low block when you've got that little space. I think the only ways we got in was
less
those
time on the ball.
Yeah, and we just had the tiny little interchanges of play that we could get through, and we should have put them to the sword early on. They seemed a bit starstruck that we were even there in the stadium, to be honest. But I'm really looking forward to this next run. I think if we can get, obviously there's another international break coming up the month after this run of games. If we can get through this run of games, either still unbeaten, but also create a nice gap between us and whoever's 5th, 6th, sort of Villa, Newcastle. If we can create that nice little cushion, I think we're in a really good position going into sort of the Christmas run, and that's.
I like this. Yeah. I agree. I like this humble.
These next 4 games they're winnable. I mean, Chelsea have hit a bit of run of form, so if
I
Chelsea,
think we should be heavy favourites for that at home, though.
If Chelsea continue, but
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know.
And I'm not going to lie.
I think we're going to lose.
They're a £1 billion team of superstars.
But lads, we can't. When Poch comes to that stadium, the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric for that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I do honestly think we could get 12 points from 12.
Agreed.
Sorry, Matt, do you mind going over the fixture list again? Who we're playing? Do you have it in front of you?
We have Fulham, Palace, Chelsea, Wolves.
Palace, Chelsea, Fulham, Palace, Chelsea, Wolves. So Fulham, which are 12th, which I did say they're actually a good
Struggling.
team.
I think that
Struggling.
they're struggling. They struggled to get over Sheffield yesterday.
So we got Fulham at
Yeah.
home. We got Fulham at home.
Yeah, Palace, which are decent,
Palace,
they're 9th.
Palace away.
Decent side, but they're also riddled with injuries. If there's a time to play
Yeah.
Palace, it's probably now.
Yeah. So we've got Palace away, but it's a good time to be playing them.
Yeah.
We've then got Chelsea at home, and then we got Wolves away.
Guys, what are your thoughts on the Chelsea match? I know we got to end the stream a little bit early, but what's your thoughts on the Chelsea game? Because I'm gonna be completely honest. I hate to be negative, but it's Chelsea. We kind of always lose against Chelsea. This goes back to the mentality point of view that Matt and you and Josh, both of you talked about beforehand. Do you guys think we can overcome it?
I'm going to stop you, Josh. Right now, I have no opinion on the Chelsea game.
Nice.
And the reason being is because they started off the season terribly. They've now won their last 2 games. And I don't really have an opinion on that Chelsea game until I see what they do in the next 2 games.
Yeah, I think it's what Chelsea turns up on the day because they've been playing this way all season. If you look at their XG and their numbers, they've been playing this way all season. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. That's the only difference.
So
they're coming up against one of the best defense in the league, aren't they?
If they go goalless in the next 2 games, then I'll be like, okay, well, yeah, they won 2 games, but so on and so forth. If they bag 3 or 4 goals in the next 2 games, like a piece, right? If they score 3 goals in each game, then suddenly I'm going to be like, okay, well, they've now found out where the net is. So then we need to be a bit more careful. Right now, I'm going to be honest. It's like well, bear in mind we've got an international break, so we're what 5 weeks away from the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
With
no.
5
Oh yeah,
a lot can
Chelsea
happen.
Game,
It's more than a month away. So the reality is, I don't really have an opinion on Chelsea at the moment.
Fair enough. But we'll talk about it more when we get towards it. So, final question for you guys, Josh, man of the match. Who is it?
Mickey van der Ven for me. I thought he was excellent individually. I thought his goal was brilliantly taken, but a special mention to Pape Matar, who was excellent in that second half. I thought it was like a tough first half for him, especially on the ball. But second half, the amount of distance that he covered and how he played defensively, he was a great outlet for us up the pitch. So shout out to Pape Matar. But Mickey van der Ven, that's probably the best performance of the season from an individual defender at Spurs, which is saying something because they've been immense all year. But I thought that was the best defensive display of the season.
It's probably the best defensive display of the last few seasons.
Yeah.
I thought, if there was one Spurs player in the defense that I was going to put in the team of the season so far for the league, it would be Mickey van der Ven. I think he's been a revelation, and that was his best game in the Spurs shirt.
100%.
Matt, who's yours?
Van der Ven. Like literally, as soon as you asked Josh, I was literally just like, "There's only one option."
Yeah,
Van der Ven. I thought defensively it was fantastic. It was a very composed, mature performance for a 23-year-old?
Yeah, I think so. I think 22.
22, I think.
22, right? Very mature performance for a young defender.
Yeah.
Right?
22, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And he got his goal as well. So, yeah, there's only one. But I do agree with you and Sar. I also thought that in the second half, there were a lot of times when he was taking the ball on the half turn and he was running with it.
Yeah.
Which was really, really important for
taking on Basuma's responsibilities, and it's a side we haven't seen to him.
Well, it's not just taking on Basuma's responsibilities, but also in the context of the game. That was so important that he did that to relieve
pressure.
Relieve pressure on our defense. And it's like he identified, and it was very mature from him. And obviously he's very young as well, but it's like he identified that because he doesn't do that in a lot of games.
No.
But he identified, he was like, right, that's something I need to be doing now. We don't have people up top that I can be getting the ball to that easily. We're a man down. It's Basuma who's one who runs with the ball. And he seemed to take the ball and he was running out of our defense and crossing the halfway line so often. He did it so well. So yeah, I agree with Josh. I thought Sarr was brilliant. Maddison.
Brilliant individual ability there to get
Oh,
the goal.
in all honesty, like Maddison's so good that when he plays well, you almost kind of forget.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Like,
He
literally,
literally
yeah.
hasn't dropped below an 8 this season. He
Like-
hasn't dropped a below 8 performance.
But like literally, like he's so good now that you just kind of take it for granted. Like
Yeah.
we're like, oh yeah, Van der Ven was amazing. So like, let's not forget Maddison, brilliant. And I'm not gonna lie, it was Maddison's brilliance that made that goal. Yes,
Takes him
it was
top of the league for assists this season.
absolutely. And
I think there's one special individual that we really forgotten about in the last 15, 20 minutes of the game, and it's Kulusevski. I feel like he should be getting a special mention because he really carried out that attack. You know, no one was up there. He was literally kind of like running, but not really doing anything
Tirelessly,
because he had
yeah.
no one up there. So
was- it-
Kulusevski, I feel like you had
wasn't-
very, very, very strong last 15 minutes of the game.
it wasn't a special performance by him.
But
But-
Oh,
work
I
on
thought it
that
was.
one.
I thought it was the last 15, 20 minutes. I think
No,
individually unbelievable.
No, I thought it was very good and it was industrious. Like he really, really put a shift in.
Yeah.
It wasn't special. He wasn't taking on players. He wasn't getting shots on goal. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't cutting in and taking shots and putting pressure on the keeper. So it
Yeah.
wasn't just this ridiculous special performance, but
Mhm.
the work rate was commendable. And I thought that was it. To be honest, I think aside from Bazuma, we had 10 very, very good performances yesterday.
Yeah. Shout out Vicario as well. Mr.
Yep.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Excellent again.
Shout out to our whole lineup in general. I think everyone
Absolutely.
was very good except for Basuma, but we'll leave it like that, lads. Make sure to guys go. I just muted myself. Make sure to guys go and subscribe to the channel. We are so close to 1.3k. Make sure to guys go drop a follow to Matt and Josh. Here's their socials. You know, you guys can reach out to them whenever. And yeah, lads, I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy for us to record a video again together. And yeah, hopefully you guys in the comment section down below can just let us know who was your man of the match. I'm pretty sure it was Van der Ven. But lads, hope everyone has a great day. Stay safe. Come on, you Spurs.